Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Seeking Sustainability in Japan. I'm JJWalsh in Hiroshima. And today I'm talking with the amazing Victoria Yoshimura in Miyazaki. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello.
Now, I am so happy that you had time to talk with us. You are a busy lady. You are running a lodge. You are a Buddhist priest.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how this happened. How did you start your life there in Miyazaki?
Well, it's not that exciting beginning. Came out on the JET program, which is the English teachers' assistants in the schools. That was many moons ago when I was 22, and I was based in this town. I was sent by Monbusho, which is the Japanese education ministry, and I was sent to this town, Takachiho, and I've been here ever since, 30 years in this town.
Wow. Yeah, I was saying before we started that we actually came on the JET program, both in Kyushu. I was in Uita, you were in Miyazaki,
Yes.
around the same time. But you never left. You have
No.
made that area your real home and really embedded in the community, right?
Yes, it's wasn't my intention, but that's things happen.
Yeah. Now, I was reading your blog on your amazing website, which we'll introduce
On
in
my
a little
one
bit.
post, there's only one post on my
Was
blog.
that one post by you about how everybody says, I didn't think priests could get married? Now,
Yes.
when they say that, are they talking about you or your husband? Because both of you are Buddhist priests, right?
Yes. So it's just Westerners ask that or say that because the idea they see Buddhist priests as more of the monk type, saffron robe, bald head sitting under a waterfall type. And but actually, this is the Pure Land sect, Jodo Shinshu, which was actually the first sect in Buddhist sect in Japan, which was okay for the priests to get married. So that was one of the reasons why it became popular as a religion. So it's a nepotistic succession from father to son, and obviously, if you're not getting married, you can't have a nepotistic succession.
And when you were a jet, you were working in high school with your now husband. And when you first met and you got to know each other, did you know that he was in this family legacy around the temple? Did you know that right away?
Yes. And so I was in a junior high school position for a year. Before I actually moved to the high school where I met him. So, because when I first came to Japan, I had no Japanese language at all, and I'd never met any Japanese people. So I had a year of getting used to it, and then I transferred to the high school, like from a local junior high school to a high school. And so when I met him, the other teachers said, "Oh yeah, he's the local priest." And he didn't register either way as a wow thing or just like it's just what he is. It's like you get vicars, don't you? That's what he does.
Well, there's a really popular, you're from the UK, there's a very popular female vicar
Something
TV
in
series,
French.
right? Yeah. So when did I read this in one of the articles about you, about when you started getting interested in taking on the roles of becoming a priest yourself, and then going through the training when your kids were quite small as well, right?
Yes, it was. It wasn't something it's not automatically expected of a priest's wife to become a priest themselves. I was so I started thinking about it after my second son was born, and because it was just I'd reached like this crux of where I was really, really unhappy, and it was either a case of what's he calling beat it, joy. Oh, there's a phrase. You either did beat them at their own game, or like if you can't beat them, join them type. Whatever the phrase is. I'm losing my English there, but then I thought whether this temple and this whole life that was around me, whether I identified it as the problem or I can use it as the solution to the.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And you also, you're running a temple. Well, you and your family are running the temple and lodge now. And
Yes.
because this is Travel Tuesday, we want to talk a little bit about the beautiful area and things that people can see and do around there. But first, let's introduce the website because you have great photos there. Let me see if I can do that. So Shonenji is the name of the temple.
Yes, Tadashi no Nembutsu.
And there's the beautiful lodge. Tell us about the lodge. It's a new build, but you reuse some materials from the original building. Is that right?
Yes. So we built the lodge about 3 years ago because we had a very old building there, and we were hosting people there, and it was very popular with like foreign visitors because we had like a goemonboro, like one of those baths you lit up with fire underneath. But the building was so like falling apart, so we decided we were going to go the full hog and create something which would be complementary to our work as priests at a temple, and also to take advantage of the fact that we live in an amazing area of natural beauty, and it's like a national park area, and to use all those resources we naturally had to make like a unique, like a brand new lodge, but using old things. So you can see in that photograph there, the floor we took from the building which we had there before. It's 100-year-old recycled floorboard.
It looks just stunning. And I love to see the yakisugi, the burnt wood, which is supposed to be less flammable and better for homes. I love that look.
Hiroshima, from where you are, it's especially ordered in, and so a lot of people in the West who are interested in architecture and house design, the idea of yakisugi, or it's sometimes known as shosugiban. It's it's quintessential Japanese building material, but it's not that. Don't seem that much of it in Kyushu. So when I wanted to use it, my builders were like, and then we had to order it from Hiroshima.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really interesting. I didn't realize it's more famous from this area. I
Yes.
love it. And I've only in the last few years started seeing it on new buildings. So it seems to be coming back into fashion, right? It's awesome.
It's very ecologically friendly, and it's very pricey. So that's why you can see it all around the front of the lodge, but it's not around the back because we couldn't afford to put it on the back.
Wow. Yeah. I see the Ramma at the top of the room there, the beautiful wooden carving, Japanese style.
This was I have another foreign wife friend in Kumamoto whose house was destroyed in the Kumamoto earthquake, and so she invited me to look at some of the stuff she managed to salvage, and so that Dhamma in the entrance there, and also a special carved windows we have in one of the rooms, and some pictures all from her family house, just to because I really think recycling these beautiful Japanese artworks, not just build new. I mean, it is a brand new build, but I wanted to incorporate these things.
Gorgeous. Yeah, and you've got some great reviews already from people who have stayed. So you guys opened the lodge in 2018, is that right?
Yes, 2018, and then it was we started because you know we're busy with our main is obviously the temple, and so it's just, you know, it's with a view to the future, because we have to like diversify our the temple, and so it was just started off, you know, little by little, and it was going quite well, and then of course Corona happened, and then, you know, and then trying to work our way back into, you know, people's imagination.
Yeah. Well, you said in one of the articles about having more income security because the population in the local area is dwindling, and having income from the lodging as well as from the temple, and you are teaching as well, gives you a bit more security and gives something for your family, your daughter-in-law and your son to
Yeah,
continue as well, right?
that was the plan, that it'd be something I could work with my daughter-in-law, something we could do while as I gradually age myself, and as she is raising children. It's something which is based here, like in our temple compound. It's something, and which is, as I say, complementary to our main work as priests. And yeah, it's for example, Jodo temples in Miyazaki. When I first got married, there was 93 temples, but now there's only like 82. So the actual temples are closing down and shutting down because they can't. One, there's no more priests, or there's no more congregation. You know, so everybody has to like evolve and you know, keep reimagining and moving the temple on, you know.
Yeah. I think one of the ways you described it was it's important for the temple and for you as a family who wants to stay there to keep changing and staying relevant to the
Yes,
community needs, right?
yes, absolutely. You've got to stay relevant, and for example, just the changes that I've seen due to Corona, it's the I've seen things which would have, without Corona, would have taken like 10 years or so to have the same kind of movement, but everything's been accelerated, and so it's even more important nowadays to make the temple and activities relevant, you know, because people are, it's changing the way people interact with temples.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine. Now, you let's step back a little bit to your training. I want to learn a little bit more about your training.
Which,
Um, you you spent 7 months doing intensive study, and then
this was at home, because before
okay,
you're allowed to go to the main temple to do the seclusion and the residential training, there's a prefectural level test, because the head temple is Nishihonganji in Kyoto, and there is like the Miyazaki prefectural head temple, and that's where the administration is for the area. So I had to pass and test at that level, so I'm not an embarrassment going to Kyoto. So so I decided that, you know, I had to either, you know, embrace this or get divorced or something. So I decided to embrace it. But the thing is, I'm basically illiterate in Japanese. I mean, I can follow recipes, read letters from school, and, you know, I know what's going on, but I couldn't do, you know, the study in Japanese. And the kanji is so difficult for this very specialist Buddhist I didn't see the teaching
test qualification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I phoned the head temple and I said, "Hello, I'm interested in becoming a priest, but I've got this big handicap as I'm illiterate." And they were so supportive, and they sent me all this material. It's funny, I've got it right here. It's like they sent me like kindergarten, like from American kindergarten and for like Sunday school for the second generation Japanese kids in America. So they sent me this, which was really, we got nice pictures. We got your friendly neighborhood Japanese priest, right? And so they sent me this kind of stuff. And so I studied in English. But it's interesting because my congregation is obviously all Japanese. So everything I studied, I have to process it. And then when I go out on my rounds and my talks and my sermons are all in Japanese. So it's kind of a bit like a bit kind of schizophrenic. But so they helped me a lot. And obviously a lot of the work is rituals and chanting and so lots of
I read that you were read the questions in the test.
Yes.
And then you were able to write your answers in Romaji in the Western alphabet, but you understand it completely in Japanese. It's just reading the kanji or writing the kanji was just a bit too much, right?
So that's the only thing in my in my daily life as a priest. Obviously, it's all verbal. I go to people's houses, I talk to them. It's all about human interaction and communication, and I'm not writing to people. But the only thing I can't do is write the Buddha name on the wooden plaque at a funeral. I can't do that. And so that's the problem. So once when my husband was away and we had a funeral, and I was thinking, I've got to write a Buddha name for these people. So I got my sister-in-law to write it. She's got nice writing. So
but there's no ceremony or no religious part that you can't do as a female or as a foreign female?
No.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, on paper, theoretically, I mean, if you're talking about the actual, like out in the field and the actual, some very conservative, older Buddhist priest kind of rule kind of guys are not so, open. But in theory, it's all totally open. In fact, more than a third of Jodo Shinshu priests are female. And but it's really funny because I'd experienced so much like prejudice against me as a woman, as a foreigner, and I was so frustrated with life. And then I just started studying, and then when I actually went to Kyoto and was actually experiencing and getting the teachings from the horse's mouth, and I realized my actual daily experience of temple life in Kyushu was very different from the teachings. And then I realized, okay, this is the goal and this is what I've got, and somehow get it together.
Yeah. But you said the one part that you get compliments on and you really enjoy yourself is the chanting. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a good singer, though I'm really bad at karaoke, but I'm good at singing, so I can hold a note, and I'm not shy. And so a lot of the work involves going to somebody's house, and you might have 30 or 40 people just sitting there, and I just sit down and I sing a cappella for these people. I chant, and it's like 40 minutes, the chant, and then I'll give a sermon, and then we'll go to a gravestone, and then we have a meal, and that's the kind of the flow of it. And so I can chant. So I'm trying to make up for what's lacking in my sermons by giving them a nice chant.
Now, one thing that I was really interested in, I've never been to, even though I've been in Japan for about 30 years, I've never been to a funeral. I've only been to weddings, like traditional weddings. But the Buddhist aspect of Japanese culture is not really about weddings or births. It's more about death or
most people, right? Your average Japanese person would probably have not had any association with the temple until somebody dies. So that it's often now it's called like funeral Buddhism, which is a pardon, grave mistake, because it's it's not for the dead people, it's for the living people. But indeed, funerals are a main part of our business. But you have you can celebrate any life ritual in Buddhism. So obviously, you can have Buddhist weddings, Buddhist equivalents of christenings, and you have all the life rituals. Obviously, are celebrated and commemorated in the Buddhist way. But funerals is bog standard. What image associated with Buddhist priests?
And in Hiroshima, we have Daishoin, the beautiful temple on Miyajima Island, where I've been many times to have the gorgeous Shojin Yori food. Is that part of your sect as well, to celebrate the all kind of vegan, all plant-based food?
Traditionally, on the 16th of every month, we're meant to have Shojin Yori, which is like vegetarian food, because that's the commemorative death day of our founder, Shinran Shonin. But we don't. But when it's the actual his death day celebration commemoration is in it's called Goshoki. That's when we cook traditional vegetarian food and serve it. And then also you've got to be careful of colours and not have like bright colours on and things like that. So it's all part of that, but it's not like every single day. It's just times
special
yes.
occasions.
Yes.
But one other thing that you mentioned in another interview was doing chanting in the forest or inside people's homes. And so you're not only in the temple doing ceremonies, you're often moving around.
Yes, so our community, our people, our congregation obviously have their houses, and they each have their own Buddhist altar in their house, and we go to their houses a lot. That's a huge part of our job, and in fact, it's the fun part of our job. I mean, I really like visiting people in the houses. You get to really understand how they live and what things they're dealing with. Because when they come to the temple, they're all dressed up and looking nice, and and they're putting on a show. It's not until you actually go and visit their houses, and Japanese people don't often invite you into their houses. Even their neighbours will only stand at the entrance. But Buddhist altars are right inside the house, so we get right through, and so it's really integral. We can see into their lives, and the forest thing is when people have like moved graves, and we've had to go to forests and chant, because they're digging up bones and stuff, and so they don't want.
Wow, interesting. I was talking to Japanese carpenters, and they were talking about a priest at the forest before they cut a tree to use in a house. Is that something you would do as well, or?
If you we provide the services that the congregation wants. So Jodo Shinsho it's not about superstition and like, oh, if you don't do this, you're going to be struck by lightning type thing. There's not that kind of teaching involved. But our congregation, if that's what they're feeling, that's what they want from us, we go and do it. So for example, exorcisms, like that's not something we have on our repertoire, but people, they really want to feel that they're doing something active. So I've chanted in places where people have, actually in the room where people have died, in a not so natural way, and it's just, our services are for the living, and if that's what people want, that's what we do, because that's our services.
That's really interesting. Now, going back to when you first started, your husband became ill. I'm glad he's doing better now. And you were taking over more duties when your children were small. And you're
Yes.
talking about going back and forth between breastfeeding and wearing the priest robes. And
Mm.
that was a really crazy busy time for you. That's I love that quote. Priest robes do not are not made for people breastfeeding or something.
Yes. Yes. So all again before that, maybe people who don't understand about the temple is that it's my husband is the 17th generation priest of his family to be the head priest of this temple. So it's the Yoshimura family name. So it's not like you can't just like, it's not like, a bit short-handed, so we're going to advertise in Hello Work or something like that. It belongs to our family, and we are responsible. We are the caretakers of the temple, and so it's been going on for 17 generations. So he became ill when my oldest son was first grade elementary school, so 6 years old, and so 6 years old, and my other son was 3 years old. So I'd already become a priest by then. But in order to become a head priest, there's a whole series of other exams, which other higher level qualifications which are necessary to become a head priest. And I was really worried about my position and you know, what would happen if my husband were to die and my son would be still unable to take over as a head priest, and whether there'd be like a vacuum. You know, it's a bit like, you know, you see the kings and queens of England, and like you get like a get the young prince and the princes in the tower and all that kind of. I was really imagining all kinds of things. So I realized that in order for me to feel secure and to guarantee the succession to my son without having anybody come jumping into the vacuum in between, was that I needed to be able to be the head priest of this temple if the needs arose. So that's when I studied to become the head priest of the temple. So that would be about. So my husband became ill when my daughter was 2 weeks old. He was hospitalized with cancer, and so my daughter is 19 now. So I would have taken the head priests, done the studying about, I don't know, 18 years ago, just to cover my bases, because I didn't want to be like, to have some like a distant relative like put in as the substitute head priest until my son would have been of age. So I wanted to make sure I was, I could keep the line going.
What a huge challenge to step into that role, and while you have young children as well. You're in so many ways, your career there has been full of many challenges. And I love this story of you going back and forth between English teaching and being a priest in robes, and the local community got really used to you going back and forth with different roles as well, right?
Yes, it's funny because I teach in the nursery schools, and I teach the children from about 3 years old, and I teach them right through. I teach at the junior high schools, the elementary schools, and so the children are very, very used to me. And so when and those same children are also members of our congregation. So it's funny when I have to go to the house for a service, they're all excited to see me. Oh, it's Victoria Sensei, and then they realise it's not the usual fun thing I do. We're not doing, I don't know, head, shoulders, knees and toes. We're sitting down for 40 minutes on our knees singing and something completely different. And they kind of, but I get them involved. They're more likely to sit down and listen to me than maybe some kind of, maybe my husband who they don't know, or they're interested because they know me. Yeah. So then, or I'm teaching and then I rush back and then I have to put for example, when we have a funeral, we have to transfer the deceased from the futon to the coffin, and there's certain things you have to do, and not often the family, they obviously don't know how to do that. So I'm coming straight from teaching 5-year-olds into, you know, lifting up deceased peoples and sorting out their hands and things like that.
Wow.
Doing their hair.
That's a real transition, but it must make it very real for you how death is a part of life and especially a part of your reality, right?
It's part of my reality. It's part of their reality too, because it's a much more closer and warmer relationship with the cycle, the circle of life, you know, like Lion King. I don't know, but it's I find the Japanese attitude a lot more natural and refreshing and warm. The whole idea of somebody dying but still, you know, interacting and being with, sending the dead person on their way in a nice warm way, rather than, oh my god, they're dead, put them in a refrigerator in another building type thing.
Yeah. Wow. I'd love to talk more philosophy. You were in a couple books. Just hold up your books and tell us about some
This
of the
this
other
one's
publications you've been. Yeah.
an intelligent one, and so it's called Buddhism of the Present Day Japan and the Female. It's about the gender role, gender in Buddhism. I wrote a chapter in it. I wrote it in English and I've had it translated. And it's about my experience in a rural temple in Japan, which is again different to like another female priest in a more cosmopolitan area. And even the experience I write about in this book is that also has changed. You know, it's changing all the time. It's getting better. And then this one here is, I've got another chapter in this book here, and this is a local publication. It's all people who live in Takachiho. And it's about people's relationship with the town and how they feel about in the connection with the community and the countryside. So I've got an article in here too.
Beautiful. And on your Instagram, there's so many beautiful photos of the temple and surrounding areas. It looks like these waterfalls are not too far away. Is that right?
That's an hour and a half away. That's it, over in Oi. Okay, they're really nice. And
gorgeous.
Near Kurokawa Onsen, that one is. Kurokawa Onsen is 1 hour from our place. So a lot of our guests who stay at the lodge, they combine stay with us and then they go to Kurokawa or Yufuin or that kind of that's just
around your area, is it? Yeah, it's gorgeous. So you said you're not far from Mt.Aso.
Mt.Aso is about 30 minutes away, and so we get ash, the ash deposits in this direction in the winter. So yeah.
Wow. And here is your temple grounds from the sky. Yeah. You said your nephew was flying a drone to take these. Is that right?
Yes, he did. We weren't there, and suddenly we said, "Oh, I've seen that before." And he took that for us.
And it looks like in autumn you had this beautiful yellow ginkgo tree.
Yes, that ginkgo tree was planted when the first temple building was built, so it's 140 years old. 440 years old, and so it's a very a big ginkgo tree. And so in November, right up to the end of November, there's a huge yellow carpet of leaves, which are a complete pain to tidy.
Well, because it's beautiful, maybe you don't have to. It's gorgeous. So this is without the leaves, this view, right?
Well, it's just like a little bit of leaves. Okay, they haven't all dropped yet. So,
and this is you hitting the bell. Is this at the temple?
Yeah, this is at the temple, and this is me ringing the bell before a funeral. So this is there's several different bells involved in the rituals, and this is the one we ring before we have an event. So that thing, that white circular thing behind me, is actually one of those big plastic funeral flower things.
Wow.
And I'm wearing robes there, which are different to the robes I'm wearing today. They're more formal robes.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. How many robes do you have?
Well, you have different grades of robes. This kind of everyday, well, not every day. This is for, I mean, you don't wear this when you're cleaning the garden or anything. And so this robe, and then that robe I just saw, they're gorgeous, I guess that. And then for a funeral, you'd have a big, like, it looks like an electric hot carpet, which you wrap around you. And then you have summer robes and winter robes. So a lot of people say, oh, I've got to, resent putting money in the envelope to give to priests, but they have an incredibly high maintenance. These robes, they have they're real platinum and gold threads in them, and they last for years and years, but they're very, very pricey.
Where are they made?
In Kyoto, most of them are Kyoto. So when we get our stuff, when we have to get our supplies, it's like I liken it to Harry Potter when he goes to Diagon Alley to get ready to go to school. So you go there and there's specialist shops, and you go into a shop and they recognize you, even though you're coming from Kyushu, and you have special relationships with the various shopkeepers, and they know, and they say, oh, this one we've kept aside for you because I know you like Nantuka.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love to visit that shop. Are normal people who are not priests, are we allowed in?
No, it's quite funny because you're allowed in, but they look at you really weird. And so obviously, first impressions, I look just like a random Kyoto tourist just wandering in. And so just vaguely recently, I was in Kyoto, and I had to go to one of these shops to request a special service of some embroidery service, actually, to get these Sagari Fuji, this mark. This is the Jodo Shinshu mark. I wanted to get them embroidered onto something similar to this. And so I went into a shop, and you could see from their faces, they were like, oh, we don't want to talk to this foreigner. This foreigner has no reason to be here. And then I said, oh, I've got this. I got it at a special service. And I mentioned I got it at a very famous temple. A friend of ours. I said, oh God, we got it there, given there because we took part in a ceremony. And they changed as soon as they realized that we were associated with this temple, and that I was just not a foreigner. I was a temple person. Changed like 180 degrees. They started, being nice to me, offering tea and stuff. But when they just thought I was just a random foreigner, they didn't want me walking in the door. It's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. But that's kind of the way it should be, really. It shouldn't be somewhere that is welcoming to tourists. But how do they survive? Like you kind of wonder.
They charge their nose for their services, so
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And they might be the only shop in Japan to provide this service, maybe, or very few, right?
It's very specialist and people. So.
Yeah, how interesting. And then I was commenting back to your lodge. I was commenting on the beautiful glass work you have in the lodge. You said that's from a local artist as well?
Yes. So because I'm British, and though I was not religious as a child or a family, but I went to a Church of England school and I spent all the time in cathedrals, and I love stained glass, and so I wanted to incorporate stained glass. But this guy, the local guy, he paints his art glass is painted onto the glass, and he was just doing like postcard sizes of local scenes, and I said, I think you can do big ones. I can do really big ones. And he said, I've never done a big one. And I said, yes, you can do it. So I commissioned him, and he's worked now on my lodge, and we built a mausoleum, and he did work in there and also in my house here. So I really like to support local artists Yeah.
It looks like it. Looking through the lodge website right now,
Mm.
and the beautiful rooms. It really, I can't wait to come and stay. I will come and stay because I love the whole atmosphere of being around a temple, but also in a very comfortable. It looks like a B&B type
Oh, there's the
design.
there's
Gorgeous.
the wooden window from my friend's house, the plum.
Oh, gorgeous. The purple room.
Yes, the purple room there. So I wanted to use that window. So I had to get the window order made to go with that frame. Okay, so
I love how you've designed the rooms. There's a real combination of Japanese and Western.
yes, it's
How do you
interesting.
describe it? Cozy comfort, luxury, cozy comfort, something
Yes,
like that,
yes,
right?
something like that. Because I want to, like, stay somewhere which is nicer than my house when I go somewhere. So, and but I don't want it to be so like, oh God, I want to sit on the sofa in case I break something. So to that balance to make it, somewhere a little bit nice, but not so nice that you can't relax. No, so
I saw that the wooden fish. Does that mean you have a irori,
yes,
like a fireplace in the
yeah,
middle of
a
the room?
fire pit, irori. And so when I was designing the lodge, I didn't know whether to do a irori or a hori kotatsu, because I know that foreigners like both of those things. And so I designed a hori irori kotatsu. So there's a kotatsu underneath, and it's the irori, and it all collapses in on each other, so it can be on the same level as the floor.
Sounds wonderful.
Mm.
And cozy enough even in winter? It doesn't get
Oh,
too cold?
oh, it's because we've got the log stove. It's really cozy. It's really nice, and it's like, I don't know, Christmassy. I don't know. It's a bit Christmassy.
Aw, very nice.
If
Do
you
you
want to
get
come,
much snow around there?
it depends on the year. Last year we didn't get much snow at all, but some, like one February about 5 years ago, up to our knees. But it's cold and fresh and beautiful, like beautiful blue skies, and yeah, it's chilly but lovely.
Gorgeous. It just looks so beautiful. Um, Another place that looks really great nearby, Tsuetate Onsen. You've got, because you're
Okay.
near Mt.Aso, you have a few onsen, hot spring
Oh, there's
around?
loads of onsen. So, like, my husband is in the onsen right now, but there's loads of onsens. Our nearest real onsen is 30 minutes away, and so this Tsuitate is a little bit further away. And I went there, just because. So yeah, we go to onsens a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was interesting on a
That's a
week.
beautiful, beautiful old building too. This
Yes.
is the onsen building, is it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're called Kisho onsen. I don't know. It's Tsuitate. Yeah, so
Yeah,
everywhere is really
beautiful.
loads of places you can just nearby, which are great to visit.
Let's talk about your family for a minute. So, your son and your daughter-in-law are now very connected to the temple, as well as you and the lodge, right?
Yes, so my son's qualified as a priest. He also took the head priest exams, and he's going to do some further exams in the new year. And so they live in a house just like next door, and that's my grandson. He met his wife in Kyoto, but she's not at all connected to a temple or anything. So a lot of priests, harking back to Harry Potter, like a lot of priests like to keep it in the family type thing, and marry their kids off to temple families, so then at least people know the ropes type of thing. But obviously my husband didn't do that, and neither did my son. So he's so I think it's good to get a fresh view rather than get a bit of muggles into the community to keep people
Well,
on their.
you have beaten the path, so hopefully it's a little bit easier for your son's generation, right? Because there was a lot of resistance at first to your even considering getting married.
Oh, yes, it was just it was nasty, and yeah, a lot of resistance. And the only thing that, you know, the saving grace was the fact my husband was so old, and so, you know, they didn't want to object to me because they didn't think anybody else would be lining up to marry him if they refused me. So,
But you said that when you did get married, there was a huge celebration. There was
yes, they
copters
made
overhead. There was news cameras at your wedding. Is that right? That's
yes,
crazy.
yes, a live TV game show broadcast from my wedding reception, and there was helicopters, you know, doing, you know, aerial things, you know,
Wow.
kind of.
Amazing. We have Louise has joined us, says hello from New Zealand. Marion says this is fantastic talk. Thanks, Victoria and Joy. Awesome. And Louise saw some poppies. I missed the poppies in the picture. She caught them.
The poppies, it was from the stained glass. It was the stained.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wonderful. Perfect. Um, where were we? So the mural. Talk
Oh,
of
okay.
recent additions.
Yes, this was a very cathartic thing for me. The whole there was so much involved in this mural. To begin with, that building is absolutely horrible building, and I've hated it. And because this building, when they it's a temple meeting hall, so it's not the temple main hall. It's like a place where we do events, and it's a kitchen and that. And so when it was built about 20 years ago, and there was a committee, and it was just like that Mori guy and the Olympic thing. And it was like, oh, we can't have any women on the committee because, you know, nothing will get done. And so they built this absolutely awful monstrosity with a really badly designed kitchen. And because the old guys refused to ask opinions of either me or any of the female members of the congregation would be using it. Anyway, so they built this disgusting, horrible, ugly building, and it's got all concrete all the way along the bottom, and it's just so ugly. And so this is a thing I find in a lot in Japan, is that they go on about how beautiful the scenery is and how, but then they have these ugly buildings with no aesthetic sense, and no connection to. I mean, that ugly grey building is right slap bang next to a beautiful old temple. But anyway, so I got this horrible building, and I thought, I've got to do something with this concrete wall, and it's 23 meters long and 5 meters tall. And I thought I would like a mural. So I started looking for an artist about 3 years ago, but you know, you just don't know where to start looking for that kind of thing. So, and I knew, because it's long and thin, I wanted like a reclining Buddha, and I like things like peacocks, and you saw my stained glass. I like the kind of funky klimt stained glass art vibe, and so it was like a perfect storm last year, because my mother died in the UK, and I got a small amount of money there, and then also my mother-in-law died in January, and then it was like, how can I just, you know, like some people have like a life experience and they get a tattoo or something. So I thought, I'm going to make this huge tattoo, and I like onsen, so I can't really get a tattoo on my body. So I just like, I'm going to make my mark on the temple. And so it's 23 meters long and 5 meters tall, and I paid for it myself, and it's just beautiful, and people And I wanted to, I mean, I didn't just want it to be like some kind of Melbourne street scene or something. I wanted it to be relevant to the temple and the Buddhist teaching. So it's the reclining Buddha, and it's got all the animals around him as he was dying, and it's got lotus flowers in it, and it's got these are the shada trees which flowered when Buddha died, and again you got a peacock. I like peacocks. And it's got lotus leaves, and it's got a mandala, and it's got wisteria, which is the town's local flower, the town's flower, and also a symbol of Jodo Shinshu. So everything, there's a whole set of stories involved with this. So I was, and people come and they visit. They come especially to come and visit, and people like put their hands together and and people can enjoy it, and it keeps the temple alive and relevant, and it's something everybody can enjoy. And it was symbolic for me. I wanted, like to make a mark on the temple, like literally, really big mark.
That's great. So the reaction has been quite positive.
Yes. It was funny because when the guy came, his name's Jay Shogo. He's a mural artist from Tokyo, and he's a Japanese guy, but he's got loads of tattoos, and he was working, bare chested, and like, oh, it's a foreigner. I said, no, he's not a foreigner. He's a Japanese guy. But the idea of difference and not being other, and it must be a foreigner. But then it's a Japanese guy, and then what he's creating is a very, essential Buddhist story there. And it was. I feel it encapsulates what both I and my husband and my family want for the temple, and to introduce it to get younger people to come and enjoy. So this is the guy. This is Jay. He's got a shirt on. He spent most of the time without a shirt on.
Yeah, it's quite a big project. We were talking before we started about how I can't imagine doing something so big and doing it small, but having it look perfect when it's so big. This is quite a talent to know how to do that. Yeah. So it was spray paint, was it?
Yes, spray paint. It's all graffiti. He ordered it. The spray paint's from Spain, and it will last about 20 years, he says. And then in 20 years' time, I'll have to think of something else.
Well, so you're planning to stay. This is your life. You are embedded in the community. This is it.
This is me. Yeah, this is it. It's yes. Well, I can't see. Well, you see, 17 generations. It's not like we're gonna, up sticks and move to the south of France or something. It's I'm kind of not stuck, but I'm invested in here. So the idea of making, the idea of you're not. Somebody said about international, living as a foreigner in Japan. You're not camping. You've got to make it your home, and create links and feeling of belonging. And so now I'm creating a space which reflects me and reflects the nature of what the Yoshimura family are here to do. So.
And with the lodge as well, you can welcome more international people and of course Japanese as well.
Japanese people. So we were before Corona, we were half, in real namagaiji, like real people, foreigners from abroad, and domestic tourists. And yes, it's. I'm very lucky that Takachiho is a beautiful place and people come here anyway. So it's the idea of using the resources we've got, which is the natural resources, and the fact that I've got a beautiful temple, and then the fact that my husband and I have a desire to share what we've got with people. And so it was all it was a natural progression to build a lodge. Because it's the idea of going to a temple and staying that's an think of Koyasan. But the thing is, when I go somewhere, I don't want to sit in a cold room and eat vegetarian food. I want to stay somewhere nice, have a nice glass of wine, you sit in front of a log stove, and have really nice silky sheets. And that's really like my interpretation of the Jodo Shinshu. It's like it's real, it's in the moment, and it's what it's for you, and it's not about austerity, and it's we can morph into what you want it to be.
That's really interesting. Yeah, but that you're making it luxury and comfort and a place that people want to spend time and relax.
Yes.
And visit the temple, see the surroundings, the beautiful sightseeing or nature around the area. It seems like there's a lot on offer. Was there an open top train that you mentioned?
That's my favorite bit. And so most people think, oh, Takachiho, we've got to go down the gorge and row in the boats. But the boats, it's like you get a really short time and you're all just a whole bunch of people who can't row banging into each other. So, which is nice. You get your Insta by chance. But this open top train, it's my absolute favorite. I've been on it so many times. And you can, what's good about it, you can just sit. You don't have to walk. and you can get stunning views, and there's some really unusual things going on with it, which I won't say because it will spoil it. But you get on there, and it's the local people, showing you Takachiho and the warmth of Takachiho, and it's really fun.
That's nice. Yeah, it looks really fun, and it goes over this beautiful valley. Is that the Mitate Valley?
No, Mitate Valley is further down. I keep adjusting my. God, it's all mirrored. Oh no, that's that one. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing
here. You mentioned Mitate Valley is also beautiful.
Mitate is a great place for swimming. That's where we go in the. Let's see, I really have got to sort myself out because I'm all on a mirrored thing. There you go. That's that one. Okay. No, so that Mitate is where we go swimming, which is a little bit further down towards the coast, but the valley which the train goes over, it all that feeds into the gorge where the people are doing the rowing, and Takachiho is all mountainous and all valleys and mountains, so there's gorges, valleys, rivers all over the place, and waterfalls, and it's just a lovely place to chill.
Yeah, sounds amazing. I can't wait to come and visit. We just have a couple more minutes, and the cats are getting into the picture here. Is your dog around? Show us your dog.
He's been here the whole time. There you can. Sunny.
Oh, how well behaved.
And well, he's happy if he's here. There's Sunny. There he is. He woke up. He's there.
Oh, what a sweetie. What's his name?
Sunny.
Sunny. Very nice. So I think we've covered pretty much everything. You've got a beautiful area, temple lodge. The website links are below, and you're on Instagram doing beautiful photos on Instagram of your daily activities, but also the surrounding areas. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I should have to do some more hashtags, and because my daughter's always complaining that I don't actually write anything on my pictures, but anyway, I think pictures speak louder than words. I don't know.
I learned a lot from your Instagram because the beautiful pictures, and then you would describe what's happening. So not the red carpet, but the yellow carpet during the ginkgo leaf time and stuff. Yeah, I'm very clever. I like it. We have a comment from Joseph Tomei, came through Victoria's recommendation, invitation, great talk. I wonder if you could ask Victoria about her car. I'm sure she's the only Buddhist priest with a turbo K car.
No, the car. Yeah, I really like driving, and I've actually got a bus driver's license. I took my bus driver's license. Oh, you can hear the bell. You'll hear it. My husband ringing the bell. So my car. Being a priest, you have certain image things. You can't be really flamboyant, and you can't have well, a lot of city priests maybe are driving around in Mercedes and stuff like that, but in the rural, you have to be like, hide your light under a bushel. So only with my car, I bought it last year, and it's the first time I ever bought a new car, and I chose a red one. And my mother-in-law, she said, priests don't drive red cars. And I said, oh. And so I got a red one. And I decided I just wanted to really pimp it up. And I just got all these go faster stripes and like chrome this and that. And I just, we just had to. So my husband refuses to drive it. But
you're staying relevant to who you are and to your local community,
It's not cherry red. It's not wine red, but it's got a black roof.
I think you can get away with that. We've got a great comment from Nancy. She says, really enjoying the talk. I'd love to visit the lodge someday. Definitely.
Yeah.
So you said you've been having people, even though it's still COVID time, and
we were only closed for 1 month because my son was the second person in Miyazaki Prefecture to have corona, which was you can imagine how awful that was. I was in March last year, and how the hostility and a lot of the problems we had there. But so that was the only time we were actually closed. And but after that, we've tried to keep it local and do just Miyazaki people or anything. But the town is open. This is a tourist town. The town wants people to visit, so we're just following the towns. Can you hear the bell?
I think I can hear it. I love it. Yeah, perfect way to end. Yeah. Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you so much for sharing all your life insights. What an amazing, interesting experience you're having in this time of your life. Yeah. I hope you can stay for many more years, definitely until many of us have visited and enjoyed your hospitality. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I've enjoyed speaking today. Thank you.
Oh, great. And thank you, everybody, for your comments and questions. And join us again next time. Have a great night. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.